Hi guys, my name is Erica. Welcome to my channel. I am so excited to see you back here. If you are new to my channel, welcome. Today's video is going to be a full face of new to me products. Not necessarily new to the market, not necessarily the newest drop that you're going to see on Trendmood, but they are new to me. Things that I have not tried yet or things that I haven't really made my mind up about yet. So we're going to get this completed look and see my final thoughts at the end. Alright, I'm going to get started with a little bit of eye primer. I have the Icing eyeshadow base from Glamlay. I have mine in the shade Caramel. I don't know if they still sell this. I believe I got it on sale, so it may have been discontinued. But it is one of those highly pigmented eye bases, and I think that it will work well with the eyeshadow that I'm trying out today. So I'm going to go finish blending this out. All right, the palette that we are getting into today is the Shadow Sculpt from Unearthly. I received this one a couple of weeks ago. I'm pretty sure I ordered it when it first launched in that pre-order, but I have not had a chance to use it yet, and I'm really interested in trying out these kind of greens down here. Those are what I'm most excited about, and the shimmers are insane. So let's go ahead and get started with the eye look. I'm grabbing a Sigma blending brush. This is the E35, and I think I'm gonna start with a little bit of this shade in Flesh Cap. I'm curious how pigmented this is going to show up because it is very light in the pan. It kind of looks like nothing. I really didn't expect it to look like much, but sometimes these shades are a little bit deeper in the pan. Or I'm sorry, a little bit deeper on the eyes than they are in the pan. But it doesn't look like this one is showing up much. Next, I'm gonna go into this kind of chartreuse shade in Sun Ra with that same blending brush. And I'm going to start that on the outer corner and then blend it inward. That is a super interesting color. I don't have this color a lot of other places in my collection. I'm going to grab a slightly smaller blending brush. This is the Blend Bunny B5. And I'm going to go in with Slug Skin. And I'm kind of doing that same shape out to the outer corner and then pulling it inward, just slightly lower so that that chartreuse still shows up. Now I'm going in with the smallest blending brush. This is the B2, and I'm going to take a little bit of Bog Heart, that deepest green. And I'm just putting that on the very outer corner. I'm going back in with a little bit more Slug Skin to finish blending out that deeper green shade. And I'm just gonna go back and forth with all of the colors and just continue building them up and then blending them back out. Alright, those are the mattes completed. I'm not sure which shimmer I want to use because I'm of course attracted to this pink right here in Sprite Glow, but Phthalight, that one looks really pretty. I think I'm gonna go in with Phthalight, and I'm just taking it on my finger. And I'm tapping this one on because it is a marbled shade, so I kind of want it to keep that marbled effect, so I'm not really smearing and wiping and blending, just tapping it. All right, that is how we will leave the eyes for now. I'm going to complete the other eye and then we're going to get into the base. All right, that is both eyes completed for now. We're going to finish it up after we get our base and everything done, put some on the lower lash line. But overall, right now, I think that these colors look really nice together. I was a little bit worried when I first saw this one because these are not really colors that I use a lot, especially these more like yellowy greens. But I actually think they look really nice, and it paired really well with the shimmer. And this one I wanted to use because it was more of like the oddball shimmer out of them all. Just because these are more like golden and green, like clearly they go in this palette. So I was really curious about like that pink teal combination, and I think it looks really great. So that is the eyes finished up. Let's move on to the base. All right, today I'm going to try the Real Her Ceramide primer. I got this quite a while ago, like in a subscription box, and I used it once, and I can't remember if I like it or not, or if I even want to keep it around. So I'm gonna quickly just blend this in. We'll see how it feels. All right, that is the primer blended in. I don't really see a difference on the skin. It looks moisturized, but I feel like I can get the same look with just the moisturizer. And I am someone that enjoys primers when they have an effect. This is just kind of moisturizing. For foundation today, I'm gonna go in with the Pat McGrath foundation. What shade is this one? Light medium 14. This one is also not really new to my collection. It's one that I had. I used it once, maybe twice, and then I stopped using it for a while, and I can't really remember how I feel about it. So I'm just going in with a sponge because this is more of a serum foundation. It's very liquidy. Right off the bat, that blended into the skin with no effort at all. Okay, that's the current coverage with just one pump of foundation. I'm gonna add another half a pump and see how it looks. All right, that is the foundation fully blended in. I think it looks really nice. It feels really smooth on the skin. It still looks very skin-like, but it toned down my redness a lot, which is mainly what I look for in a foundation, is really just to cover up my redness. I don't care if like my little beauty marks come through or like really anything else. The redness is the big point for me, and I think that definitely fit the bill. I also have the Pat McGrath concealer in the shade Light Medium 12. And this one I just always thought was a little bit too dark. I see it's very peachy, which may be really good because I have very bad dark circles. I just always feel like it's going to show up too dark on my under eyes, so I avoid using it, but let's try it out. All right, this is the concealer. What do we think? I don't think it looks too dark actually, and I'm hoping it's not just my lighting because I think that looks really good. And I'm so sorry if you hear whining in the background. My puppy really wants to go outside because he sees the neighbor dog is outside, but they go out there and bark at each other. So I'm trying to avoid that at the moment. You will survive, I promise. All right, let's call that good. Let's move into our cream products. All right, for contour, I have the Morphe Shape Lifter Micro, my goodness, Micro Contour Stick in Refined. You don't need to go out there and bark at him. You don't need to. Oh my goodness, you don't need to bark. Oh my gosh. I don't know why I couldn't get that lid off. Ugh, this foundation is kind of making me itchy. Maybe it's just my allergies. I don't want to blame the foundation. I'm gonna use this kind of just wherever I want a little bit of contour because it is more cool toned. All right, let's try this out. I'm gonna use the Putty bronzer brush to blend this out. All right, that is the contour on. I think it looks good. It did take a little bit to blend out. I wonder if it would blend out better with a sponge, because it is a little bit of a stiffer cream. I think it looks okay though. We're gonna go in with a little bit of cream blush. I have also from Morphe, this is their Cheek Thrills Face Trio. I have mine in Wine and Dine. This is a deeper shade, but I love the berry tones. So this one has this one has the cream blush at the top, the more like shimmery glowy balm, and then a powder at the bottom. So I kind of want to try all of them and see how it looks. I'm going to start with just a little bit of the cream, and I'm going to apply that all over the cheek. Right off the bat, that is highly pigmented, and there are like glitter particles in the first cream, which I wasn't expecting. Alright, that is the first cream on, the top shade there. Let's go in with a little bit of the balm shade. I'm just gonna apply it more towards the front. I definitely knew what I was getting into getting this blush because it is deeper, but I think it is blending out pretty nicely. And once we go over it with powder, I think that will tone it down a little bit more. But as someone who loves blush, I don't really care that it's super pigmented. I may apply the powder after I've done like translucent powder, or I don't even know what powder I have picked out. But after we do that, we may circle back around to blush. I have two powders to use today. I have the Dior Face and Body Powder in N3 and the Glamlight Strawberry Shortcake Pink Powder. And I think the game plan is I want to use the pink powder on my under eyes and then use the Dior powder to set everywhere else. And this one does come with a little powder puff, which is so cute. I have used this once before, but I really don't have an opinion of it, so I definitely wanted to purposefully try it again and actually see what I think. So let's apply this right on the under eyes. Alright, that is one under eye set, and that is the unset side. I think it does a great job of setting, and it really blends well with the blush. I think if you're someone who doesn't like a very blushed look, ooh, that was loud. If you're someone that doesn't like a very blush look, I'm not sure about the pink powder, but I think because I have quite a bit of blush, I think it actually blends in pretty nice. I'm gonna tap that off a little bit and go in on the other side. All right, that is both sides of the under eye set, and I think that looks really nice. I'm just gonna go over it with just a loose kind of fluffy brush. Make sure there's no excess. Now I'm going to go in with the Dior powder. The last time I had this was a couple years ago, and it got hard panned very quickly. So it was kind of like pointless for me to even have. And I wanted to try it again because I really couldn't remember how I felt about it. Okay, that is with the powder. I don't see a ton of difference. A bit on my cheek, but like around my jawline and my forehead, not so much. I think this is better as a finishing powder, not as my setting powder. Alright, next up I have a bronzer. This is the Ulta Beauty Collection Faux Glow Matte Bronzer in medium to tan. We're gonna take, this was a Beauty For Real brush. I probably got it in like a subscription box. I'm just gonna take a little bit. Bubs, you're okay. Alright, that is the bronzer on. I think that looks really, really nice. Alright, I think at this point I don't need more blush. So I'm gonna go ahead and go in with highlight. I have this trio of highlighters from Unearthly. Oh man, he really wants to get out there with that other dog. Poor guy. You'll go on just a second, okay? You will be fine. You don't need to go bark at him. All right, I have 3 different shades. This one is more of a orange gold kind of. This one has like some purple and blue. And this one is a little bit more purple pinky, it looks like. Which one would go good with the eye look? I'm kind of thinking the orangey one. Come here. Come here. I know. I know. Okay, I'm gonna go in with the one in Eternal Ember. This is the more like orangey gold one. And I am applying it over powder. Oh man, I'm gonna have to let him out, even though it's going to turn into non-stop barking. Okay, I think I messed up a bit because I did set beforehand. But sometimes it works. So you never know until you try. Let's see if I can get this to apply nicely. If it doesn't, that is totally my fault because I set with powder first. But I think it is actually blending out. I'm gonna go in with my sponge a little bit just to help it out. That is the highlight. Okay, puppy is outside and he's not barking yet, so we may be okay. So this highlight, I think it looks really nice. Definitely my fault for putting the powder first, but I actually think that it blended out just fine despite that. All right, I finished blending that highlight out. I added a little bit more and I added some to my nose. It is really itchy around my nose. And I don't know if it's the primer or the foundation, but something is itching. And I don't like that. It could also just be my seasonal allergies. So I don't want to blame anything. But I think that that highlight looks very nice. I'm excited to try the other shades. This kind of reminds me of the Kaleidos. This one, the Prophecy highlight. Because it has like that gold orange shift. This one doesn't have like that green to it like the Prophecy one does, but I'm getting similar vibes. Okay, I have 2 options for lip liner today. I have the Unearthly Vamp lip liner, which is a purple, and then I have the Morphe Signature lip liner in Brulee. I think I'm gonna go in with Brulee because the lip gloss lip oil that I have I think would look better with this color. So I'm gonna quickly apply this. Okay, that is the Brulee lip liner. I just applied on the edges and kind of pressed my lips together and it is very creamy. I'm gonna top that with this Essence Hydra Kiss lip oil, and I have mine in Mocha Glow. All right, that is with the gloss on top. I think the color looks really nice together. I think that this lip liner is a little too creamy because I feel like things are just kind of moving around. And it's not really, I don't know, it's not really staying within my lip line. I feel like it's kind of getting smeary, which is always a risk with lip oils, that it's kind of breaking it down. But I think that it doesn't help that the lip liner was already super creamy before I even topped it with the lip oil. But I do think it looks really good. I'm just gonna quickly go in and do my brows. Nothing new for the brows, no new products there. All right, I went ahead and finished off the eye look. I just went in with the L'Oreal Lash Paradise. I took the greens from the top and just swiped them along the lower lash line. What else did I do? Oh, eyeliner. I used a little bit of, here it is, the Pear Nova Eye Duo. It's like an olivey green color, so I used that. And I do want to pop a little bit of something on my inner corner. I think I'm gonna go back into the Shadow Sculpt palette and take a little bit of Wilted Wings. And for the brows, I went really simple. I just went in with my NYX Brow Gel in Espresso. So that is, I believe, the completed look. I'm gonna go through all of the products one more time and just give my final thoughts. So to start, I have the Real Her Primer. It just kind of felt moisturizing. I mean, my skin looks really nice, but I feel like I can get the same effect with a moisturizer, so I will not be keeping this in my collection. For the foundation from Pat McGrath, it looks lovely on the skin, very smooth. I think the color looks nice. Everything blended really easily. Same thing with the concealer. I think everything blended really nicely. It doesn't look too dark on my under eyes. I am gonna go out into natural lighting and see if I still feel that way. For bronzer and contour, I do like this contour stick from Morphe. It took a little bit more effort to blend it out. I think going in with a sponge is going to be better than a brush, just because this feels a little bit almost waxier than, say, like my Rare Beauty one. But the bronzer, the powder bronzer, I think blended out really nicely. The blush trio from Morphe, I think turned out really great. I was a little bit worried at first because it was showing up pretty pigmented, but I think with the full face done, I do really like that color. I have not tried the powder yet, so I can't speak to that, but the two creams in here do look really nice. The highlighter from Unearthly, I think the color is gorgeous. The shine, the glow is really nice. Definitely my fault for applying it over powder. So any blending issues that I had has nothing to do with this. It really is because I put powder on first. So I will definitely try it again, not with powder, and see if it's a little bit easier to blend out. As far as the powders that I used, I think that both of these look really good on the skin. I don't think that the Dior powder really did much as far as setting my face, but I do think that it looks very smooth on my skin. And the pink powder does look really nice on the under eyes. I don't think anything looks heavy or too cakey, and I think the pink shade looks really nice with my blush. Last up is the lip combo. I do like this lip liner from Morphe. I will not wear it with a gloss or a lip oil again because this is a very creamy pencil, and I think that it just kind of gets a little bit smeary. I do also really like this lip oil. It feels very comfortable on the lips. It doesn't feel sticky or anything weird. So I do really like the color of these two together. I don't think that I would wear them together again just because things are a little bit smeary for my taste. And I believe last up is the eyeshadow palette, the Shadow Sculpt from Unearthly. I'm a big fan of the color story in here. It kind of reminds me of, if you guys remember, the Kaleidos palette that came out. It had like the animals on the front. It was really beautiful. It kind of had these tones in it. And I don't know, I like this one a whole lot. Like, the colors are working really well together. The shimmers are very shiny. The one thing is, if you are used to how Unearthly shimmers work, these ones are more emollient in a way. They feel very much like the Adept shimmers. So I do think that a glitter glue works a lot better with these. I can already see it creasing a touch, and I have very oily lids, so I would definitely use like a glitter glue or something if I were to use these shimmers again. But I do think that the colors look really good, and I think the final look is fantastic. Alright guys, those are my final thoughts for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure to like, subscribe, and comment, and I will see you next time. Bye!